Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session, or this session from the wonderful Versatility Conference here, Versa Network's first user conference that we've actually put together. Very, very exciting times. My name is Rob McBride. I head the North America pre-sales system engineering and solution architect team. And today's session that I'm actually going to be speaking and presenting to you about is it's about implementing a lean, fast, and intuitive SASE-based architecture, leveraging our Versa Titan service. And before I actually get started, just a couple administrative things to remind you on. We do have a team of folks here, folks a lot smarter than me that are standing by. And if you have any questions, by all means, please leverage the Q&A aspect and function of the viewing screen. And we'll get through a couple questions either live through my presentation, or we'll get it toward the end, or questions may be answered by our actual moderators, if you will. So with that, I'd like to get started. Again, I'm Rob McBride. I head the North America Pre-Sales Channel organization for our system engineering staff. And I'm going to talk to you about Versa Titan and how you can implement a lean, fast, and intuitive architecture associated with SASE. And so to get started here, let's kind of get going. So, for a couple of you who are actually maybe new to Versa, either a new partner or a new customer, Versa Titan is our approach to drive a leaner, operational and user experience related to all IT functions for WAN edge services, whether it's around security implementation for branch services, for your WAN edge devices, your SD-WAN, CPEs and devices, next generation firewall capabilities, as well as leveraging Versa's cloud gateways, right, to centralize visibility, enforcement, inspection, and policies associated to all things relative to SASE, right? Your secure access services edge architecture. And what we've done with Versa Titan is delivered a fully 100% cloud delivered and cloud managed solution within a lean IT framework that ensures things are built to be intuitive, very easy, and comes pre-populated with best practice templates associated with the networking as well as security policies and features and functions, unifies your overall capabilities for not only your branches, but also those services that are hosted in the cloud by Versa or even other partners that we actually are certified to deliver the Versa Titan service. And what I mean by that in unifying, we're talking about SASE. We're talking about gateways deployed in our global infrastructure to facilitate connectivity for work from anywhere, hybrid workforce, remote access, as well as optimized cloud access in addition to secure internet access. And more importantly, for those that engage with us at a business level and are working mutually together, for those who are customers watching, we actually also deliver it in a much simpler and leaner commercial package by making licensing much easier to understand and much more intuitive, mapped to actually what you're actually deploying. And last but not least, associated to our trifecta here is really the concept of utilizing a mobile app to really drive that simplicity of user experience. Now, as we look moving forward, there's a lot of components associated to our cloud of that service that we do called Versa Titan. And, many of you have been attending a variety of different sessions, learning about a lot of things that Versa does, from networking to security to cloud security, IoT, and so on and so forth. And you've probably become familiarized with a variety of other components that are critical and crucial to orchestration, management, as well as control to all things that are relative to Versa. Now, all of those things are, of course, very relevant, even in our cloud service for lean IT that we call Versa Titan. And those are things that you see here currently on the screen that I'm presenting. Titan really is a cloud-oriented service where we control and adapt the user experience and the orchestration experience to facilitate things just being much more intuitive to you as the operator, whether you're a customer or you're a partner delivering a service. And this sits on top and handles the overall access and ingress and egress associated to control and management to the other parts that are really built inside of the cloud, which are the other components that you may have heard about today in other sessions, or as you kind of continue your journey with us at Versa, you'll come to understand things like Versa Director, things like Versa Analytics, our controllers, and of course, our Versa Cloud gateways hosted in our infrastructure. Now, these are all encompassing, come together and really build out that cloud infrastructure and that cloud service where Titan really is your UX. It's where I, as the IT operator, are now interacting with the cloud to deploy my networking, my security, my SASE services, all within a unified dashboard framework, and really taking leverage and utilizing what we really can do from a Versa perspective, from advanced capabilities and from routing, security, next generation firewall, and so on and so forth, and just making it really easy for you. Now, Titan isn't really only about branches like you've been hearing me talk about. Of course, it binds and unifies the service characteristics and capabilities of our cloud gateways for our Versa Secure Access, Secure Web Gateway services to address your remote workforce, or even facilitating secure internet access for branch estates over SD-WAN, and of course, your traditional WAN edge architecture of all of your branch offices, headquarters, or even clouds. Now, when I like to kind of begin the conversation around Titan, and I talk about things being easy, and I'll show you part of this today as we get to a demonstration. But the journey, not only for you as a partner of ours that is either looking at potentially utilizing Titan as a service delivery mechanism, or your customer that's currently either investigating and looking for a leaner approach to your WAN edge and cloud and SASE services, your experience actually starts with a mobile application. So we've actually built a mobile app that really drives and is at the heart of simplifying your operations experience, the orchestration and monitoring, and more importantly, your provisioning. Utilizing a mobile app to utilize a Bluetooth channel to a Versa Cloud Services Gateway appliance, to immediately auto-discover it, as well as to now onboard it. So it is now configured based off your configuration in a very simple and very rapid manner by simply utilizing consumer technology like Bluetooth. But more importantly, being able to put complex technologies from routing, right? eBGP routing to advanced things you can do with traffic steering with SD-WAN, next generation firewall, or other security capabilities, and being able to configure that all from the palm of your hand, or provision an appliance or site very rapidly utilizing either wireless or Bluetooth connecting into appliance. And that ultimately is that really the start of the experience. It really drives the overall thematic and our intent and our vision behind kind of transforming the way and how you operate and actually look at a network and security infrastructure associated to the wide area network. Now, as we dive a little bit more into Titan and what it really drives and provides to you, we really focus on three kind of major characteristics. And you'll hear this quite a bit from me as I kind of go through a variety of different things and showing you what's new, what we're capable of, and kind of where its meaning and its applicability is within your overall branch, cloud, as well as WAN services architecture. It's intended to be quick and simple. It's meant to be fast. A lot of the pains that we've seen in a variety of other customers, some that are here and some that are communicating with us, is that sometimes it just takes too long to actually get a net new site up, even handle RMA replacements, and so on and so forth. And as much as I talked about relative to the mobile app, the utilization, of course, of our capabilities for zero-touch provisioning or utilizing either global ZTP, but more importantly, the mobile app really comes to the picture here, where I can simply pick up my phone, right, connect via Bluetooth over to an appliance, and then be able to configure it through some pre-templatizations or things that are actually coming from the cloud. It makes activations of new CPEs, new locations rapid in the matter of a couple of minutes, between 5 to 10 minutes in the overall process. But more importantly, what we build inside of it, for some of you that may have been in the previous session with Naveen as well as Bhavesh, kind of learning about various things associated with templates, at the core element around the baseline portion of the service for Titan, the entire service comes pre-configured with our kind of best practices associated to traffic class, marrying up specific real-time applications to be prioritized others, to specific SD-WAN rules, configuration of your overall tunnels and split tunnel, default security posture, already come pre-packaged the second you actually log into the overall service. Thus kind of driving that concept around being quick, simple, not only from an activation perspective, but even from your overall day-to-day ongoing maintenance and configuration change control. Now we look at, of course, other things that are important relative to SaaS, right? Much how you're viewing me talking to you here now, either live or on demand. Really, you're looking at a cloud-based application, and really comes to the forefront. How can you optimize the experience and capabilities, to ultimately what really is residing in the cloud? And what we have embedded inside of Titan for either CPEs, virtual or physical, and also capable inside the Versa hosted cloud gateways is really the pre-categorization of a variety of different application types, whether they're SaaS apps like Office 365, unified communication as a service applications like Zoom, RingCentral, Fuse, GoToMeeting, WebEx, and really having them all already auto-prioritized and leveraging other more conditioning capabilities such as forward error correction, loss recovery mechanisms utilizing cloning, but also more importantly, being able to have an infrastructure and architecture that I'll show you here in a few minutes about being able to take all of these SaaS services and sending it to either a partner hosted or a Versa hosted cloud gateway that now has low latency connectivity and one-hop access to these critical applications that your customers or you as a partner are trying to manage. But more importantly, not only is it about experience and the applications our customers or all of us within IT are needing to use and deliver and service, but it's also around ensuring a secure posture. And so associated to the application recognition and rules that can be applied, security comes by default. Right? It's not a question when it comes to the Titan service. Every endpoint within this, within Titan, whether it's your CPEs, again, physical or virtual, to, of course, the cloud gateways, the secure access client to facilitate hybrid workforce, all come embedded with security. So whether it's at a level of next generation firewall with URL filtering, more advanced practices associated to malware, AV, lateral movement detection, and IPS, and even other forms around decryption. They're all cooked into the service, provided by default, without even so much a question, do I have an ability to enforce a secure posture? And of course, the real gem that is Titan is really around its ease of management. Making things more intuitive so you have examples to show you how do I configure a steering policy? What do I need to do around decryption? What are examples around URL filtering or even on my WAN or LAN side? How do I get going? How do I get started? Your entire experience start from a drag and drop with things actually presented to you to actually give you an example of what it is that you need to do. And all of it really drives that concept about being easy. Right? We want to drive a more leaner approach associated to all network and security services, right? That really drives more of a lean IT management philosophy in order to functionally, what I like to say sometimes is just get the network the heck out of the way and really put more important care around really what's, the applications, right? Serving up voice and video, ensuring they're being prioritized, controlling how you need to actually steer that traffic based off of quality metrics and performance metrics across multiple WAN circuits, or even utilizing Versa hosted gateways or partner hosted gateways for different means of access to either internet or those SaaS applications. Now, of course, we drive this to be simple ultimately for the end user, right? You, the customer, or a future customer. But we also built this, of course, for our partnering ecosystem. Not only do we want to drive operations and management from the branch estate, right, a CPE, and the firewalling that may be done at the CPE, or even within the cloud from a SASE construct, but we also want to build it for you, the partner that we're working with to deliver these services and build a level of intuitiveness to help you drive your business and actually control that as you kind of work to deliver other higher value added services. And what I'm talking about is the dashboard and the user experience, the operations experience is even easy for you to manage, right? Relative to providing a unified framework for your point of entry, where you need to go to see your customers, monitor your customers, debug and troubleshoot your customers, look at licenses, manage inventory, manage the orders around what a customer actually has purchased, where you need to allocate. And of course, very important, the support aspect of it. So it's what we've driven and kind of innovated around relative to Titan around this lean experience is we want to assure a uniform approach, not only for us, but for you, the partner, as well as the customer, so that we all are able to see things in an equal light, have the same level of intuitiveness and capabilities and ease in order to troubleshoot, create, change, all things associated with networking as well as security. And then we also then take it to a different level. So it's not only around management, right? Your dashboard, what does it look like? How clean is it? How intuitive? How easy can I drag and drop to create new services? But we also built a lot of advanced capabilities for those that have a variety of different lines of businesses. So we take our core capabilities from multi-tenancy and we brought them forth and from the business front relative to the overall Titan cloud service. And we kind of decoupled that from the operational aspect. And what I mean by this is we bring in this concept around regions, whether it's like kind of similar to how we deal with interact with cloud, right? I have a US 1 region, US 2, US East 2, and so on and so forth. But from a Titan perspective, we bring that forward in order to help not only us, but also you as a partner, be able to segment this and line it up to various different lines of businesses or even regions across the globe, where you'll be leveraging this lean service in order to deliver services. And so we see examples here, right? We see different geographies versus USA, and being able to manage customers, having Versa India, where we have even subunits associated to that, with it being, say, Versa Bangalore and Versa Chennai, where each of them have individual control around the customers within that particular region, but then even being able to bring that up and summarize it at a top level, right? True multi-tenancy, not only from an operational perspective, but also aligning it specifically to your business operations. Okay. Now, you know, for as we kind of continue forward from a presentation perspective here, you know, we do have some attendees that are delivering or actually leveraging Titan to kind of, you know, drive their overall digital transformation and services and needs. But let's kind of talk about things that are coming, or things that are actually just been brought new here very recently, or things that you can look forward to. I like to really start off on things around the concept of quality of life changes, right? Quality of life changes around how can I even make it easier? How can I facilitate ability to change control at a mass scale or a larger scale as opposed to a per site, per device management? And it's really that first bullet that you see here. The first implementation that we're actually looking for and innovating in is really bringing the concept of multiple templates, being able to define, I have site types of A, site types of B, and I want to have a default behavior for these different sites, and I want to attach my locations to those particular templates. So we're now bringing forward capabilities that are inherent to Versa within the Titan dashboard in order to facilitate multi-site templates that also help with larger deployments, but really helps kind of drive micro segmentation from an operations perspective and really help you begin to categorize really the profile and capabilities or definition of a particular site. Now, of course, you know, not only making things easy to do, but let's face it, right? No matter how easy we can make something, there's always going to be questions. Well, you know, how does something work? How do you actually, how does DIA or how do you actually form an SD-WAN tunnel? Or how do I set a next hop associated to a steering policy to control my traffic from my spoke or my branch to go to a cloud gateway? And so what we now have actually done is we've integrated a support and documentation portal to kind of improve that overall quality, giving you faster information to information, right? Examples from our documentation, as well as our release notes, things to watch out for, caveats, and as well as various different videos that have been developed to help guide you and help you understand the capabilities and the nature and really what's happening behind the scenes associated to when you turn something on. Other adjustments that we've made from either from a quality of life perspective really pertain to the concept around, we've listened to a variety of different partners and customers, and the way that we build Titan for traffic classes, quality of service, and SD-WAN is we build them together within the same kind of an object block where I have policies and rules, but those policies and rules are broken into 4 traffic categories of real-time, business critical, default, and low priority services. But prior to what I'm talking to you about today, we couldn't. We bound them and had the ordering of those rules per traffic class. And so what we've done now is we changed the UI and broken out policies and rules completely, now facilitating and improving your ability to really control what is the order of my rules and how do I actually want them to be matched. And this pertains to things around quality of service, traffic steering, right, associated to SD-WAN. And we brought that and unified that in to kind of give you more explicit control around the order of rules as well as policies. And for our partners that do have hosted services, and leverage multi-tenanted capabilities of a Versa deployed but partner hosted cloud gateway. We've actually then brought in a variety of different value-added applications and services, really facilitating the ability to bind things that are really your value add, whether it's hosted voice or other hosted services and things that you're deriving from a management perspective, but allowing that SASE gateway to be right there within your infrastructure perimeter. From a traffic steering perspective, right, we brought forth the capabilities to prioritize. Be able to go up to a prioritization of a level 8 and define, what are my levels and my pathways to prioritize how does my traffic need to be served across either a site-to-site, site-to-cloud, or even site-to-direct internet access. And in conjunction with that, not only around prioritization, but really looking at how do you actually define limiting? How do you define what is the actual physical characteristics of the pipe that maybe the traffic may be going over? So bringing forth the concept of QoS rate limiting and policing on a per traffic class basis. So you're able now to really control, how much guaranteed bandwidth or guaranteed transmit rate that you want to provide for, express forwarding traffic, and what's your overall best effort or transmit guarantee. And we brought that forward in order to ensure a better experience of traffic steering. Now, of course, a lot of really high profile applications are really like what I'm using now, right? A video streaming kind of a service, right? A SaaS application. Now being able to utilize a MOS score, that human readable format, to identify the quality of voice or a video session. Now being able to bring that forward and part of a policy to identify a MOS score as a match condition in order to make now an intelligent decision around what is my best path to actually utilize. As we move into like security and things that are net new and things that are coming, right? The concept of DNS proxy now has been kind of reimagined and how you want to configure it and brought into the Titan UI, but really provides that ability to obfuscate, to hide certain assets, right? That are within the enterprise, specific to those remote users that may be coming in across more public, unsecured mediums. But also being able to utilize DNS proxy and what we brought in to now, even from a monitoring perspective, facilitate your ability around, which DIA circuit based off of responses in order to determine what is my best path to send directly to internet. And what we've cooked into every application, right, high profile applications, is what we call our passive monitoring capability. We're constantly in the passive fashion monitoring various different SaaS applications around their response times and quality metrics to help give you an easier approach to determining really what's my best internet access to go to Office 365 or even going to Facebook as an example. And then of course, from a concept around security, the concept around decryption, TLS proxy, right? A lot of our traffic that we actually serve up to the web, of course, is encrypted. And so it becomes very challenging without being able to do decryption and proxy services to really present a captive portal to the user to identify you weren't supposed to go there. And so we brought this capability into the Titan UI in a much simpler framework, and even providing default certificates to really facilitate that speed of being able to decrypt traffic and then be able to apply advanced security policies in AV and IPS and utilize captive portal to provide messaging to the user as far as either their risk factor, they're being blocked, or ask them to justify themselves as to why they're actually accessing a particular website. Continuing along on the security perspective, as I kind of mentioned in the early stage, right, the concept of remote access or really secure access, what we're now doing is not only providing it as from a Versa cloud gateway that is hosted or on-prem with a partner, a managed service provider within their infrastructure, but bringing that forward to actually turn a branch to be able to terminate and concentrate remote access connections utilizing the Versa Secure Access client. Multi-VRF, and I'll show you a use case associated to that, and really the UI rendering, as you'll see how easy it is to create VRFs and utilize and assign those to various different interfaces to really drive enhanced enterprise segmentation. Authentication coming in to really provide a true ZTNA architecture that's really associated to the who as part of the overall context, aligning into enterprise authentication mechanisms and identity providers in order to identify it's me, Rob, on my device, accessing this specific application from this location, and allowing IT now, you, to have the control around what it is I can do based off that particular level of context, the who. And then from a forwarding perspective, right, as you might have heard in other sessions through the last day as well as today, switching, right, bringing forth native L2 capabilities, whether converting an existing Versa Cloud Services Gateway, a Versa branded appliance, or a Dell appliance, or as you might have heard, the CSX product line coming forward that really brings high capacity, high throughput, high density switching capabilities, really for those larger offices, and really truly provide a much more unified experience to all things associated to your networking needs and even security, as those capabilities now bring L4 through L7 capabilities down to the switch port. And that's really coming into the Titan UX, and I'll also show you our kind of UX associated through very simply creating, whether it's an integrated routing, an IRB interface, or binding multiple interfaces to be a part of the common bridge domain, and even leveraging VRFs to drive segmentation. And of course, the last element, hardware, right? We have CPEs are very critical to all things around the WAN edge. So bringing in support for our 2500 series, I alluded to, of course, from a switching platform, all the Dell appliances from the 1425, 1445, 1485, B930s and B910s were all supported natively within the overall Titan service. And we brought forward the ability to deploy in a virtual form factor so that you can have ease of deployment and capabilities to address your Azure, Google, as well as AWS needs. Now, when we look at broad use cases that Titan addresses, right, it truly is, Titan really is a end-to-end kind of a SASE architecture in and of itself from day one. It's got everything being delivered from the cloud. Everything is converged from networking and security, utilizing BOSS, of course, deployed across our distributed gateway architecture. Of course, what is deployed in the CPEs, physical or virtual. But when you look at base use cases, of course, SD-WAN. SD-WAN and being able to provide on-prem security with next generation firewall, IPS, URL filtering, as well as decryption and proxy services to provide an on-prem secure perimeter for DIA access. Or whether it's about utilizing our cloud, Versa-hosted cloud gateways to provide remote users like me, I am a remote employee, to facilitate and control my private access to corporate applications, or even you as IT drive and control the internet experience that I have by driving all of my traffic to these gateways, leveraging our advanced security stack in those gateways, and really controlling and protecting your overall entire end-to-end architecture. And so the remote access service and use case is really not only around private access, right? You know, the things like split tunnel, going into a gateway, getting only private application access, but even using things like full tunnel capability and sending all my traffic to be inspected and punched through a pipeline of advanced security services, right? General access policies, chain to other security profiles, URL filtering, AV, IPS functions, utilizing decryption in order to facilitate a deeper look into the overall HTTPS traffic, and then be able to utilize proxy and TLS proxy to now present with me as a user, whether I'm unauthorized to access a page or a particular resource, or to actually justify myself. And so these are base use cases. It covers the entire end-to-end suite from SD-WAN to SASE, from hybrid workforce, remote access, security in the cloud, whether you're a partner using our infrastructure or you're actually deploying it there on your own premise to deliver services to your overall customers. Now, other things, and I haven't talked about things that are here that you may not actually know about Titan, right? As you kind of look at how you may be doing traffic steering, say from a spoke to a hub, and you want to optimize and improve the quality, right? Depending where you are in the world, what kind of internet or even other kind of private WAN circuits that you actually purchase or utilizing, certain things may be of high latency, most notably satellite connections potentially. Now, the capability of utilizing TCP optimization to provide a bookended experience, utilizing our capabilities to proxy TCP services in order to improve TCP-based applications on their point of egress, whether it's a centralized hub, whether it's a Versa Cloud gateway, but really ultimately really turning what may be a poor experience due to a high latency connection, or a lossy connection, and utilizing TCP optimization in a bookended fashion between two VOS endpoints in order to facilitate a more controlled and better optimized experience for a TCP-based application. Now, when we look at traffic engineering for cloud applications, right, whether it's around things like you see on the screen, Office 365, Salesforce, SAP, and so on and so forth, I alluded to capabilities around, passive monitoring of these various different applications. But what we built and put together holistically is really a combination of features. It takes into consideration our application identification, our prioritization of circuits, our metrics that we actually monitor and give control over to determine what the SLA is end to end around loss, latency, jitter, MOS, utilization, and then also combine that with things like DNS proxy in order to determine and utilize that as a layer around what is the best path to actually engineer associated to a particular application mapped to a user and determine what is the best exit point, whether it's a hub, whether it's the gateway, or whether it's a local breakout. And we facilitate all this natively inside of all the traffic steering rules and the ease of use and management, simply a point and click, drag and drop kind of an atmosphere, really to kind of bring forth this advanced capability and just really make it super easy to kind of deploy and manage. Now, security is embedded inside of the Titan service, right? As I've alluded to the SASE capabilities, whether using it for versus secure access capabilities for private services, secure internet services with a secure web gateway function. But next generation firewall is included in every license that's deployed within Versa Titan service. So every branch can be secure by default, and it's not really a question, right? It just comes as part of the natural service of a three-tiered features and license that are a part of it. And of course, provides you the control to kind of define your kind of threat analysis and enforcement, right? And what particular vectors that you would actually want to be analyzing, what points within the infrastructure, whether it's at the spoke, whether it's at the branch, like a full mesh site, whether it's at a hub or a hub controller or the gateways, how do you want to inspect and then protect the overall services flowing across your overall infrastructure? And if it covers the full capabilities of Versa, whether at the branch or in the gateway, so we're, of course, next generation firewall, access policies, IDS, IPS capabilities with pre-built rules to facilitate your ease of deployment, utilizing device and user authentication with .1x, integration into enterprise identity providers, utilizing Active Directory, decryption, SSL inspection, and proxy. All that coming together ensures that you have an opportunity to present a secure posture, no matter where within the network that VOS is deployed, from the cloud to the premise, whether it's a hub or even a spoke. Now, before I start going into a lightweight demonstration, kind of showing the UX and the approach from a Titan, I want to talk about a couple high-level architecture use cases. First, what I'm presenting here is really leveraging the cloud gateway architecture that we built to facilitate controlled access and optimized access to business critical services such as Office 365 and G Suite, but actually doing that not only for branches, right, by utilizing SD-WAN connectivity from a branch to the gateway to, of course, the end application, but also facilitating that for remote users or hybrid workers, right? Those of us that are roaming around and utilizing the Versa Secure Access client to authenticate so I can identify and challenge me as far as me being able to get into the network, but also having a control point to what kind of traffic can I send? Whether am I breaking out locally for social-based kind of applications, or am I going to the gateway for all things? Now, at a high level, this presents a ZTNA-based architecture and provides an opportunity to optimize and control and provide a predictable experience associated with SaaS-based applications. Now, a larger looking at this, whether it's from a hybrid approach, for our partners that you may be interacting with, or those of you that are here with us that may be looking at this to be a point of service delivery, being able to have a gateway on premise tied to your services that you're actually hosting within your own kind of cloud infrastructure or data center infrastructure, as well as leveraging even our own gateway services. And as you see here, of course, I have multiple customers on the bottom, identifying native SD-WAN services, going across a diverse underlay set of transports, and sending traffic not only over SD-WAN to the provider hosted services, but also leveraging our cloud fabric for optimized access to SaaS-based services. And when you look at this a little bit deeper, right, deeper or at a different level, it really ensures that we drive the capability of ZTNA, Zero Trust Network Access, right, and attaching the context, who, where, and what needs to be accessed, and challenging that by not trusting them, of course, right, but forcing that as a part of the inherent behavior and architecture, whether it's at the branch, right, the SD-WAN fabric, or utilizing SD-WAN connectivity to either reverse a hosted gateway to centralize that breakout and use that as a security enforcement point, or be a little bit more dynamic with this. Breakout locally at the location as well as the client for those non-business critical based services, but actually utilize the hosted infrastructure to facilitate predictable and controlled SD-WAN based access to those particular business critical applications. Closing up here real quick before I kind of show you a demonstration and just kind of things that are capable, I do want to highlight that even though we talk about something being simple and easy, Titan really attaching to driving in lean operations for IT operations experience as well as a user experience. It doesn't mean that you can't really address complex and highly scalable infrastructure. And so even the capabilities of things like hub controllers from Versa, which really bring in the concept of an on-prem controller connected to our hosted controllers, right, that provide a level of segmentation and control either by topology, right, and mixing and matching different topology types within a broader enterprise design in order to facilitate a means of segmentation. But more importantly, ensure that you have control path services across those private WAN infrastructure, right? Whether it's around, ABC 123 MPLS provider or other point-to-point layer 2 infrastructure that might be between locations or a broad ring, right? Being able to utilize a hub controller to scale a global infrastructure, segment based off a region, and then being able to drive, a hybrid means of topology connectivity, full mesh services, spoke to hub only, spoke to spoke by the hub, or spoke to spoke direct within a particular region. And the hub controller being brought forth helps address that particular level of complexity associated to an underlying underlay infrastructure. Now, multi-VRF can be leveraged and is being brought forth in order to facilitate, and you see a quick UI snapshot there on the bottom right, and really being able to segment services, right? We have a lot of use cases here associated to either those of you that are embarking on mergers and acquisitions, or have a lot of contract resources, or you're looking to provide a means of segmentation for your OT services or IoT services versus your own internal technology services, right? IT. Multi-VRF being brought forth to provide that level of control around routing and security, and leveraging our capabilities, right? As you maybe go back and either listen to a few other sessions around how we actually facilitate multi-tenanted services as well as multi-VRF services to provide, unique topology control, but more importantly, segmentation. And as you see there, bringing that forward to be for layer 2, for layer 3, and being able to attach things associated to authentication on a per VRF basis. Now, closing out before I go into a UI and show you a quick demonstration, here's an example of the UI actually. Right here is one of my demo organizations that I've spun up. And you see there a variety of different site types. And of course, I'll show you one a little bit more live. But really, it's an ability to look at things in a much leaner way, right? For all things associated to a SASE infrastructure or architecture. So whether it's around Versa or partner hosted cloud gateways, to your branch locations that may be more full mesh sites, to having hubs in the infrastructure and spokes, right? And controlling that regional connectivity, and even maybe bringing forth like hub controllers. And all this can be delivered utilizing from a CPU perspective, Versa branded cloud services gateways, our CSG models, to our partner Dell from the Dell VEP line. Of course, utilizing the gateways to facilitate branches to cloud over SD-WAN connectivity, and using the gateways for security enforcement and posture, and obviously secure access for work from home or work from anywhere use cases. All are feasible, all are managed by a single UI, common approach for you, the partner, for you, the customer, relative to how you're going to implement policy, change control, monitoring, as well as debugging. And as you can see there within a single dashboard, all those kinds of services and types are natively and inbuilt there for you to kind of manage. And at this point, I'll detour before we kind of go to questions, give you a quick UI demonstration and a look and feel as far as what Titan is built out. And as you kind of see here, kind of powering up my overall session, and really just don't take my word for it, kind of literally let me show you what's feasible. So give me 1 second as I kind of change a couple screens, as well as do a quick share stop, and then reshare my screen utilizing my browser. 1 second here. Okay, here we go. All right, now let's go back into our share. And more importantly, I also want to bring forth this. There we go. Apologies for this. All right, so let me go and unlock my mobile device. Okay, and as you see here, right, I'm rendering, obviously utilizing my phone application on my laptop here in order to access and let me actually relaunch the app. Apologies. Give me 1 second. Never fails, right? You know, as you do things live, sometimes demos don't go exactly the way you want. All right, so as you see here, I've launched the application, and the mobile app, which is downloaded through either a Google Play Store, the Apple App Store, provides a means and facility in order for you to access your overall kind of Titan infrastructure and be able to manage locations and devices. So let me let my kind of phone kind of catch up as I've kind of got a little bit set up, so I do apologize. So once that kind of catches up here, I'll go ahead and show you what that actually looks like, and you'll be able to kind of look at that time permitting. So apologies on that. So when we look at Titan from a dashboard perspective, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at, kind of give you guys a hint of what it looks like to even like interact with, you know, our support staff or our partners and our certified partners that are actually delivering the Versa Titan service here, and kind of give you a hint and a look-see into, you know, how we're actually delivering those kinds of services. So apologies here, and going to be running out of time here very soon, but I'll try to do this as best as I can. So from this dashboard, you're able to see license management, what's active, what's used, what's been deployed, have the ability to very rapidly create customers, right? So this is how we actually instantiate you as a customer and associate various different services. The ability to actually bind and actually provide what it is they actually bought, really mapping that to the device type, the service level that's actually associated to those particular licenses you actually bought, that really drives your ability to look at license inventory management too as well. So I'm going to go into my demo organization and just kind of show you a quick topology. All right. So here I have multiple gateways. Each of these gateways are really treated like branches. So not only being able to address security, so whether it's around next generation firewall and a variety of different rules and default rules actually that we actually implement and provide, but actually really driving a very streamlined kind of user experience associated to defining what you want to match on, where it's coming from, and ultimately what's your enforcement posture, as well as whether or not you actually want to even log the various different services. And this pertains to things around access policies, URL filtering for blacklist, whitelist, to other advanced functions around AV and things. And now this is common across all objects within Versa Titan. And of course, you see here secure access. How do you actually control, right, clients connecting in and building tunnels to these gateways? Being able to have your secure access app profile and determine split tunnel, full tunnel services, what your pools are, what can they access, DNS resolution and control around that, as well as access and control into providing, you know, connectivity into enterprise identification, right? In this example here, Active Directory. Other points of control around routing and so on and so forth. But here I wanted to touch on the capabilities around SD-WAN. It is SD-WAN from our gateways to all branches that have been instantiated and are being managed by Titan. So it's not just a normal IPsec tunnel. And it really provides you the ability to really define what's a real-time policy, business critical policy, associate that to a particular rule. As you see here, very common visual language and approaches, being able to really determine and identify what application you want to match on and what profile to attach to. Now, as you see here, and part of the dashboard, of course, is really identifying the personality type of what it is that you're looking at. So you see gateways, you see hubs, you see a hub controller here that really facilitates other things. You see things that are actually spokes, the model types that are actually there, and more importantly, even what's the actual service level and kind of license types actually you can get from visual indicators. It all starts from the concept really of being able to do this really quickly and just doing a simple drag and drop to actually create a site and a location, and then being able to find your initial aspect. And with that, reach out to us. Thank you for joining today. I know there were a couple of questions. We will follow up with you on answer those, so do apologize based off of time. We're running a little bit short today. And so with that, I appreciate you joining me today and kind of learning initially about VersaTitan and how you can actually drive more of an intuitive approach to driving a leaner approach to your IT for SASE. And I do want to remind you, and not only thank you, but remind you around an upcoming session here associated to, obviously being presented by Mr. Kelly Hoosier, our CEO of Versa Networks, who's going to be doing a session with Mr. Brian Diamond, the Director of Solutions Architecture at Capital One. And to actually view this segment, obviously close this session out in this Zoom window and go back to the main event site and scroll to the bottom of this tracks page, and then that basically find similar sessions. And you'll be able to find the next session, which is hosted by Mr. Kelly Hoosier, our President and CEO, who's actually with Brian Diamond from Capital One. And they'll walk you through that particular session. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time and look forward to hearing from all you guys. Thank you.